Ben Carson, nominated by Donald Trump to be Housing and Urban Development Secretary, or the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, however you want to say it. A lot of folks thought he might get the Health and Human Services spot, or possibly Department of Education slot. He didn't. But you know, when it comes to housing and urban development, healthcare, education, two crucial parts of the infrastructure within many urban communities around the country, and Dr. Carson would probably do a pretty good job at that. But don't take my word for it. Dina Bass, who actually worked with Ben Carson on his campaign as communication director and is very well aware of what he and his wife Candy have done throughout their lives, discussed that with, guess what, Amber C. Strong. She's back. Have a look.
The rumor is that Dr. Carson was offered several other positions, but he chose HUD. Why?
You know, I do know that he wanted to be at HUD, you know, and people obviously say that HHS or Surgeon General will match him better because of his, you know, great experience in those areas. But HUD is ground zero for solving issues of poverty in our nation. You know, we've been fighting this war on poverty for 50 years and we are losing. And Dr. Carson and his wife Candy have done a lot of work to empower and increase opportunities for people in underserved communities. And so I think that he really does have a heart for this issue, and he is a solutionist. He is a results-driven, outcomes-driven solutionist, and that is simply what we need. We don't need politicians. We don't need the consultant class. We don't need people who are invested in ideology. We need people who are invested in outcomes, and that's what Dr. Carson is.
Speaking of Dr. Carson and Dr. Carson, because technically, when you talk about Candy Carson, she's been so pivotal in his outreach in the community with their reading rooms and things of that nature. How much of a voice was she on the campaign trail, and how much is she going to be in his future? You know, well, they are a team, but I don't, you know, to speak to what she will do in terms of in relation to HUD, you know, she is his wife and she is his greatest champion. I absolutely loved being on the campaign trail with them. They are, and you've had a chance to be around them both. Dr. Carson is very calm and, you know, even Steven. Candy Carson is a ball of energy. She's just a, you know, a fierce force, and they have been a team for 40 years. And for me to get a chance to get to know them and see them together, working together to solve problems and help, you know, advance opportunities to kids and offer scholarships with the Carson Scholars Fund, that was also a great thing to see. A lot of people don't understand the impact that Dr. Carson and Candy Carson have had with their reading rooms. I think it's like over 160 reading rooms across the U.S.